For some folks here in Hughesville, Pennsylvania, fracking means hundreds of thousands of dollars in royalties from natural gas wells on or near their property.
That was the first one, clear down at the end.
But in February, CNN Money alerted 4 families to something they didn't know: multiple violations at many of the wells on or near their land. Here they are.
We had no idea there was any violations.
Turns out the state agency that regulates drilling, the Department of Environmental Protection, or DEP, isn't required to notify landowners about violations, although they do post them online.
I have no idea what they do out there.
Since we first reported this story, we discovered something else. For these landowners, the details of some violations can't be obtained, even if they do everything the DEP says to do. Dan and Marilee Bauer live next to 5 wells on Dan's mother's property and receive royalties from them. There have been 20 violations at those wells. While many violations are minor, like improper signage, some can be serious, like improper cementing of a well.
The key to making sure that you don't have any water quality issues emanating from the well is making sure you have that cement properly in place to seal off any deep fluids or methane.
To find out about violations, DEP says check its website. But the digital records don't give specifics, not even whether there's a risk to human health. For that, DEP said we'd have to do a file review, just like a landowner would. So it took us 3 weeks to get an appointment here at the Department of Environmental Protection. We are back in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We're going to get a chance now to look at those well files. This is really the core of what we're looking at. These are the inspection reports. We found several instances where the digital records did not include violation specifics that were in the physical files. DEP had earlier told us there is a backlog getting some of that information online. 5 barrels of drilling mud being spilled at Bauer Well 1H. And then again, this email from August 13, 2009 talks about a spill of 294 gallons of frac fluid at Bauer Well 1H. There were no specifics of either of these spills online, and the frac fluid spill wasn't noted at all online. Frac fluid is made up of water mixed with sand and a small amount of chemicals and is injected into shale during fracking to release gas. They say they found chloride, oil and grease, barium, but what does this mean to the average homeowner?
As a landowner, you need to be vigilant.
Dave Yoxtheimer researches drilling in the Marcellus Shale. The industry trade group, the Marcellus Shale Coalition, describes him as an independent expert. Yoxtheimer looked at these documents and told us there was not enough information to determine if the spills could be harmful. We brought the files to Tom Murphy, who works with Yoxtheimer at the Marcellus Center for Outreach and Research. He looked at some cementing violations at the Bauer wells where gas leaks were noted.
We don't know what the volume is coming out. We can't tell, or I can't tell from looking at this individual report, what that volume would be.
DEP says they notify landowners if a violation presents risk to human health and that those communications would be in the files. We didn't find any. The only communication we found was a letter from DEP saying the drilling mud spill had been cleaned up, but the recipient's name was redacted, so it's not clear who that letter was sent to. Dan's mother, who owns the land, says she was never notified. Chief Oil and Gas operated the well at the time the spills occurred and told us none of the violations on its wells rose to the level of notifying landowners. We called the Bauers to tell them what we found.
It's very surprising.
It is. I mean, I seen people over there cleaning up, but I didn't know what it was.
Did you think to ask any questions?
I figured if it was important, they'd come tell us.
We asked DEP officials multiple times for an interview, but they declined. The Bauers support the drilling here, but they don't have a computer to check for violations and say they won't buy one.
We live close enough to the pad. I would think we should be notified, but they don't really tell you a whole lot.
Poppy Harlow, CNN Money, Hughesville, Pennsylvania.